but not just Politico. The BBC. Why are we funding the BBC? New York Times. This seems like prima facie political corruption. Now my inbox is filled, Congresswoman, with people sources coming to me being like, oh, like this Politico reporter, they were literally on the government payroll. Their job was to bury stories at the Department of Transportation to protect Pete Buttigieg, to publish there was paid propaganda. I'm getting people coming to me from inside of the federal government saying, no, you don't understand. These Politico reporters were like PR agents that the federal government was paying for to protect Joe Biden. And what you can see here is the exponential increase in Politico funding as soon as they published the Hunter Biden laptop psyop on the American people to rig the election. Look at this. The federal government didn't fund Politico at all. They got pennies. And then as soon as they published that to rig the election in 2020, Politico just get this massive fire hydrant of federal funding. It sure seems shady, Congresswoman.
It's extremely shady, but again, I think that a lot of the people who have worked as independent journalists have realized this about legacy media early on. I don't think that they realized how bad it became under the Biden administration, just this dragnet of control and then using our taxpayer dollars to really suppress free speech. But it doesn't just stop there, Benny. I mean, this was also happening with taxpayer dollars. I mean, remember the Yoel Roth clip from Oversight last cycle? We uncovered that the Department of Homeland Security was working with C.i.a. They're doing the same thing, joint state actors. I mean, this stuff was all illegal activity, but if you don't have people in office who are willing to fight that, put forward the legislation, and you don't have the executive branch to actually codify that legislation, we end up in these positions. So, I mean, frankly, look, everyone knows that the media and the intelligence agencies have always had a friendly relationship. This is blatant evidence of it. For those people that are going forward and exposing it with the platform, I do believe that what Elon Musk is doing, he's doing at the risk of potentially his own life. And you're seeing people make threats, you're seeing people come forward, but this is not just something that goes away and everyone says, okay, you won, that's it, it's over. These are, I think, have been taking place for decades, operations to suppress information to the American people. And that's how you end up with, the assassinations that take place previously that are going to be coming to light here with the declassifications in the next coming weeks. So it's an interesting time to be in politics, but we wouldn't have this opportunity to really correct and stop a lot of the rot affecting our country if we didn't have President Trump at the helm leading our efforts. So
interesting that you bring up assassinations, because yesterday we spent an hour with Mike Benz and he was detailing how U.s.a.i.d is used to destabilize, assassinate, and do regime changes and coups around the world, and how this is really just a C.i.a. cutout. Do you agree with that contention? What's your experience with U.s.a.i.d.?
Yeah, so my first experience with the U.s.a.i.d was actually, I was meeting with some foreign governments several years back when I first got elected, and I had gone to a few locations, and I had actually picked up, because they had brought up the U.s.a.i.d funding. And that's when I first was like, this is kind of interesting. Who controls that pot of money? I'm now sitting on the House Foreign Affairs Committee head up by Representative Brian Mast. And so I know that we'll be tackling that head on as it's our jurisdiction. And then as we know, Rubio's also stated that he's going to back that as well. But what I will say is I think what Elon Musk is doing is dangerous. And I think that people need to understand that he's not just out here trolling people on the internet. I mean, when you go up against that type of consolidated power and operation, you're talking about, Mike Benz being up here talking about destabilizing countries. Those are very powerful people. And so to his credit, I think that he needs to continue. I think that these arms and the propagandas that have been used to smear and destroy people's reputations, their families, everything, as pressure campaigns to get them to fall in line, that's been launched by the legacy media. Well, now we know who is funding it.
Wow. So you've now brought this up twice, Congresswoman. Do you think that Elon Musk's life is in danger, in jeopardy? Should Elon Musk get Secret Service protection?
I think that he has probably security in place. I mean, you don't get to that position with being stupid. So I definitely think that he's probably taking the necessary steps. But again, people, it might be on X and it might seem like something like maybe just a tweet, a post. But when you're putting out that type of information that's literally blowing the lid off of, again, I would say just a rotten to the core money laundering operation that's impacted and influenced nations falling. I think that's pretty, you have to have a big set of gall to do that. So
yep.
You can say that.
Also, you're the congresswoman. Okay, so you are the congresswoman. Can you please give us the state of the other side of the aisle? I mean, obviously you know some of these people that are having these hysterical meltdowns. Like, are they okay? Like, do we need to do a collection at church for like therapists for them, or SSRIs? Like, do they need extra Xanax filled? Like like in the greater overall scheme of things, all the reports say that they're not doing well, like the Democrats.
No, and I think that there's a lot of Democrats, though, that are saying, well, our money shouldn't be going to these operations. But again, they're trying to consolidate the message. But where these people would typically have the mouthpieces of, I would even argue, CNN, we know that CNN's seen kind of a shift in their messaging. They're not getting the overhead support that they typically would get, and so it's falling flat because I think the American people have knowledge, and knowledge is truly power, and that's done through social media, through free press, journalists like yourself. And as we know, the White House now opening up to the free press, the Pentagon now opening up to the free press, even Congress opening up to the free press, that is really changing the state of things. So, I mean, look, these people, if they are so obsessed with Elon Musk, I would definitely think that they need to talk to someone, because I don't sit on my phone all day long and think about what Elon's doing. I'm actually trying to do my job, best represent Pinellas County, the American people. But it's like you get dragged into these discussions because they're so obsessed. Like, I guarantee I'm gonna have to walk back to the committee because they're probably gonna try to do something crazy again, like maybe subpoena Elon Musk's,